G'day viewers, it's Wednesday, halfway through the week. How's it treating you so far? Well, Wednesday is when I normally do a video we call Wangafat Wednesday, an acronym that stands for Who Am I Not Giving a Fuck About Today? And today, no prizes for guessing. I'm not giving a fuck about the sad, whining MRAs and associated losers who are losing their tiny little minds over a razor ad that suggested, hey, maybe men could help each other and we could all get better. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Somehow, this is an attack on masculinity, actually saying men have the capacity to lead and be better and work with each other and learn from each other. That seems like a wholly positive message to me, but apparently not to the misogynist brigade. I mean, when you actually deconstruct the ad, their complaints make no sense at all. The most common complaint I'm seeing is, well, besides you got all bloody feminist bullshit, they're saying, oh, the ad's attacking men. It's saying men are terrible. And while it does show a range of not great behaviours, from bullying and violence to sexual harassment and just generally being demeaning to other people, nowhere does it say men are awful. And in fact, it's interesting that the bullying aspect, the physically violent bullying aspect, centres on male bullying. One of the biggest physical threats men face is random violence. And when you listen to MRAs, when they say, why are feminists complaining? Men are more likely to be the victims of violence. Statistically, that's true. Subject to violence from other men. In the overwhelming majority of cases, the violence is from other men. And in cases of unprovoked violence, just random street violence, it's almost always men who are the perpetrators. So, an argument saying, let's lead by example, don't let the boys will be boys bullshit happen, and say, that sort of violence is not how we treat other people. That would be addressing one of the most significant risks men face, which is a thing MRAs say they're concerned about, and yet they don't like the message. And yet, when someone arcs up instantly when you say sexual harassment's bad, what motivation do they think we see in their actions? So you come up with a simple thing, sexual harassment is bad. And they go, how dare you say all men do that? When nowhere does the ad say all men do this. It cites that the long-standing tradition of men demeaning women and sexually harassing women is objectively bad. And to argue with that, there really only seems like one motivation behind that, to be honest. And the fact that they don't seem to realise they're telegraphing their intentions. They think they're being clever. No, you're just being mean to me. You go, no, dude, it seems very much like you're seeing yourself in that. And when someone just objectively says, this behaviour is bad, you take it as a personal attack. I really only see one reason you would take that statement as a personal attack. Namely, you see yourself in there. And that is the sort of thing that needs to change. And even when you look at the language in the ad, where it highlights bad behaviour, but the overwhelming message is positive. You know, it's a play on the old Gillette ad, the best a man can get, and they change the meaning a little, going, is this the best a man can get? As in, is this the best a man can be? And that, being a better person, seems like a positive message to me. And it talks about men working with men, men holding other men accountable. Not lecturing down from on high, but saying, hey, why don't men work to improve the situation? Now, I personally believe that objectively, if you reduced a lot of negative behaviour, whether it's bigotry, sexism or whatever, the world generally gets better, and that helps men. But again, getting rid of this idea that men have to be aggressive and one-dimensional and domineering, that is one of the biggest problems men face. Not just that it makes life shitty, but this ridiculous idea that there's only one definition of masculinity and you punish anyone who goes outside it. That contributes to both worst physical and mental health risks men face. You always hear MRAs going about, oh, why aren't feminists talking about the male suicide rate, which is horrific. But then when you look at why are men committing suicide, it's this feeling of being marginalized, only being allowed to fit in a tiny little box. And when you find yourself in a situation where you can't conform to that, far too many men take it out on themselves. They also take it out on other people. Neither are good, but this idea that men have to be this thing or bad, that's the direct cause of male suicide. And they go, oh, it's family courts and treating men. That's the patriarchy as well, honestly. And no feminists that I respect say a mother should always get custody, particularly sole custody of children after a divorce. That idea and the historical bias in that direction is a product of ridiculous, outdated patriarchy, and it absolutely still exists. There are both men and women who make that argument that women are automatically the one who should raise children and men aren't. And yet, again, this ad goes on to show multiple examples of positive fathering, and it's just the men. They're not with the mother. They're not being told to do this. It shows positive role models of men as fathers and how positive a father can be in their children's lives. And yet apparently MRAs have a problem with this. They always say, oh, fathers aren't respected. An ad respects fathers and shows the impact they can have. MRAs have a problem. I mean, it's almost as if they're lying, hypocritical sacks of shit. And look, while we should remember, this is an ad. They've put it out. This is a short film. It's an ad. It's a corporate ad. Their end goal is to make money. Okay? And it's provoked conversation. I think it's overall positive. It's got a positive message, but brands aren't your friend. And it's certainly not going to change anything. I mean, razors aren't a big part of my life, but the idiots who have been posting pictures online of them smashing their Gillette products, no more! Brands don't give a flying fuck what you do with their product after you've paid for them, okay? You're just making yourself look like a colossal idiot to the world. Particularly the pictures that have been circulating, guys who've thrown their Gillette products in the toilet, which is like, boss move. Now you're going to have to fish that out, which honestly I think is probably a pretty good summary of those guys' lives. When a simple message that says, hey, there are ways we could be better. There are ways we could make the world better for men. We could make men's lives better. We could lead by example. We could work with other men. We could hold other men accountable with an end goal of making men's lives better, but the MRAs say this is a bad thing. I think we all know what's driving them. They're garbage. When you see bad behavior, they see themselves, that's the way they want things to be. They want there to be sexual harassment. They want there to be only one form of masculinity. They're pathetic, they're weak, they're scared, and they're over. I don't give a fuck about them.